Africa to Moon mission is an initiative to prepare Africa for its first moon landing. Africa has the fastest growing economies, 6 of the fastest 10 in the world, and the organisers believe it's time Africa shows the world what it can do. The main objective of this project is to inspire Africa's youth and to try and change the world's perception about the continent. The mission will also provide a platform for one or more scientific experiments to be conducted by the scientific community on the continent. Also, the aim of the mission is to get young Africans interested in the fields of math and science. Currently, phase 1 of the project is underway and is expected to run until November this year. Now, to tell us a little bit more, we're joined by Jonathan Weltman, who's the Chief Executive from the Foundation for Space Development. They're heading up the project. Very good morning to you, Mr. Weltman. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning, Evan. Thanks for having me.
Mr. Weltman, as always, I have to ask the tough question first up, which a lot of our contributors on social media have asked us the question: why is it important for Africa to go to the moon when Africa should spend money on more pressing issues on the continent, like dealing with Ebola, hunger, and other problems that we might have?
Well, we believe that Africa has 2 imperatives, and the first imperative is the now imperative, the immediate issues that are facing the continent, like Ebola, like political unrest, like poverty and agricultural issues and developmental issues. But we also believe that there's a second imperative, which is a long-term future imperative, which is about putting strategies in place in the long term to develop the continent so that we can stand independently without aid and as a contributor to the rest of the world, in a sense. And our belief is the strategy for that, the way to achieve that, is through education and through skill retention. And that's really what this mission, this project is about. It's about the future imperative. It's about the long-term solution for Africa.
You aim to get all countries on the continent involved. How's the appetite been from countries on the continent for this project so far?
The support has been phenomenal from a volunteer perspective across the continent. Certain countries in Africa are obviously far more advanced in terms of their spacefaring capability than others. Much of Africa is using space technology from an application sense every single day to manage resources, to communicate, to monitor disaster, agriculture, geology, and so the response has been phenomenal. And over and above that, the international response has been overwhelming as well, and not just from a political sense. We actually have new age communities like Dogecoin, for example, who've come on board as a global community and said, let's get behind this, we believe in you. So we're very happy with how the response has been on the continent and more broadly across the globe.
First phase of the project is underway. You've got a November deadline. Tell us, are you going to meet that deadline? And also tell us, what does the first phase of this project entail?
Absolutely. In the traditional sense, phase 1 of a mission plan, an exploration mission, and this is Africa's first exploration mission. It's not our first space mission. We do a lot of application missions in the form of satellites. But the first phase is to define a scientific objective and then to prepare a feasibility study to determine what it will cost and what the likelihood of success will be and how that will be accomplished. In general terms, that's something that's done by a closed group of scientists and engineers and then presented to an agency for long-term development. We've turned this on its head and said, let's invite the public to participate in what we believe is the most exciting part of a space mission, and that's determining the scientific objectives and then working out exactly what we can do and how we can contribute not just to Africa's engineering and technology, but to contribute to the global drive to explore the moon, to understand what needs to be done in the next phase of solar system exploration, which many or most believe will be routed through the moon.
I wanted to ask you about that lovely flag you have there on your lapel. Now, in 1971, an old South African flag was taken to the moon on Apollo 14. Are you planning on taking the new South African flag to the moon?
Well, I would be delighted if there was a flag payload on the mission. At the end of the day, the actual payloads will be determined by the mission team based on submissions and support from communities. Personally, I'd like to see all 52 African flags on a payload being taken to the moon and hopefully left there, so that every nation on the continent can proudly look up and say, we've been there, our flag is there on the moon, along with the most technologically advanced nations. We're catching up. We have caught up.
Now, you're going to take this project into schools and use it as springboard for us to improve in math and science. What's the broad view that you have with regards to that?
A space mission is a long-term project. This is not something that happens overnight. We're looking at windows of a decade or more. And the beauty of that is that you can take it into the classrooms now and give students and scholars at grassroots level a dream to be involved in the final mission, which could be a reality for them by the time that they get through university. Also, by extending this mission over an extended period of time, it gives us an opportunity to have more involvement, to do precursor missions every year, and there will be a precursor mission every year. This year is a high-altitude balloon challenge, which takes place in April, and then we can have participation from primary school level all the way through to experienced engineers who would like to take on the world in terms of various challenges. And that way it becomes more of a program than a single project.
Well, fantastic project it is, I think. Thank you for joining us today. That's Jonathan Weltman, who's the Chief Executive of the Foundation for Space Development, and they're planning the first African mission to the moon. We're going to get all the African countries involved. I think it's a wonderful project. It's a kind of project that can bring Africa a little bit closer, and maybe we can cooperate a little bit better with each other.